Unveiling the rise, fall, faith, and fame. The Hillsong scandal, a closer look at the controversy. Secrets exposed. Carl Lentz and the HillsongChurch make me a believer. That's right, you heard it correctly. Not believer, believer. And you will see why. Have you guys heard of the Hillsong Church or of a pastor named Carl Lentz? Yes, a pastor with a questionable past. He has always been different, which is not a bad thing. Please be advised this video is for educational and entertainment purposes. Always do your own research to make and come to your own conclusions. This video will also discuss information that has been reported in the media and print. Everyone has their ups and downs. It's how you balance it back out that matters. So off the bat, I will say I am open-minded going into this completely blind and blank. I know nothing regarding Carl Lentz and truly about Hillsong. I just know that it has been popular among many celebrities. Years back, there was a time that Scientology was everywhere and many in Hollywood were openly promoting and discussing it. It seems now for some, it may be kind of a trend. Yet for others, they genuinely unite there for worshiping, praying, and peace. Going over this topic is not just regarding the scandal and shocking headlines, but about understanding and for educational purposes. Raised in Virginia as a Baptist in his 20s, Carl studied criminal justice, where he met his first special contact for connections, classmate Joe, who was Brian Houston, the creator of Hillsong's son. Both attended Hillsong College in Sydney, Australia. Hillsong and its community was looking to launch an opening for Hillsong Center, a Hillsong for East Coast in New York City. Now, this is not your regular hometown church. This was very different. They were planning to have VIP room sections for certain members, babysitters, volunteers, dog walkers, and gourmet catering for sports gatherings and parties. Justin Bieber's mother, Patty, had been attending prayer in the church and had met a friend in a pastor named Judah Smith. Justin being so young and entering the entertainment industry, Patty was worried and felt trust with Judah in hopes of maybe becoming an outreach like big brother of some sort to Justin. She wanted to have help keeping Justin at 16 more grounded. When Justin turned 18, the media went nuts and apparently all hell broke loose. After his arrest, Judah had reached out to Carl Lentz, his friend. Justin had moved in and was sent to live with Carl and his family for a little bit of time. His focus was to help Justin and guide him on a path as his spiritual advisor. It was a process both were adjusting to. Out of nowhere, though, his style became more young and fresh, matching Justin's somewhat. For example, one day, he just turned up covered in tattoos and ink. When hanging around Justin and his friends, he was able to make more connections and began to invite celebrities to Hillsong. As the two became closer, Justin decided he wanted to be baptized and made it very clear it was urgent. He wanted it right away and it could not wait. Oddly, I don't really know the details, but in 2014, Justin was baptized in an NBA basketball player's tub. Some people were confused and uncomfortable with the fact there were a lot of photographs of Justin partying with his advisor Carl, and many questioned if it was truly appropriate or did the lines get blurred. Around this time of his new hipster vibes, he was signed with United Talent Agency that is based in LA. He was a client that would charge $25,000 to $40,000 to be booked for speaking events. Carl has even released a book called Inspiration from the Rock Star Preacher, Own the Moment. Well, He did start to live like a rock star, making sure NDAs were, being signed for him and Justin, making sure they were filled out properly to a T, as well as making people surrender their phones while partying. Either way you slice it, it doesn't sit quite right with many. Carl is not the only member of the church that had secrets, change, and scandal. Carl had a fling with someone outside of the church, but a rumor was in the church community circling around that he had also been with 2 other women who were members of the church. Allegedly, at first, people were kicked out, banned, or excluded for just spreading gossip, seeming to protect the image of the church and this powerful pastor to the star's reputation. Yet back in New York City, Josh Canfield, who was a member of the church, was forced to step down after he had appeared on Survivor and was open with his sexuality as he was on the show with his partner. So it seems that in the past, the church wanted to keep some things hushed, and or if they have a reaction, it is to be set an example of what they see as perfection in their correction. But why protect and not force Carl out? He was selling merch of his own in the church and going on tons of media tours for himself. He had members doing everything and anything for him, such as setting up, cleaning up, from 5 a.m. to sometimes ending at midnight, assisting multiple services all Sunday long on a volunteer basis, which they called the honor system. This specific church had a thing called pastor's cards, yes, for purchases of high-end designer brand clothing, purposely to keep up the image and appearance to stay cool and hip to the public. Things were good for Carl for a bit, but then 2020 hit. This too meant Carl had to adjust and change things with his lifestyle. Online services were being held during quarantine and lockdowns, so no audience live, no public appearances. He was unable to have a chauffeur anymore for business or his personal needs. He didn't have in-person contact with his group of followers, worshipers, and yes, even his apparent coffee heater uppers. What the fuck? Openly, publicly, he had set his intention to be the focus of his prayer for the new year, which was that he wanted to spend more time at home with his wife. And well, God blessed him with just that. During quarantine, he had it right there, but he ended up finding and focusing on receiving comfort elsewhere. One day while relaxing alone at Domino Park in Brooklyn, he kept eyeing and exchanging glances with a younger woman nearby. There were social distancing circles on the ground, and at random, he had literally asked her to step into his circle. They had become in deep conversation. When discussing themselves, he had said he managed celebrities, but it was obvious to her that he didn't want to go into details. He actually even asked to please not Google him, but she did. When asked if he was married, he did admit, and he even acknowledged that there was currently nothing wrong with his marriage. In an estimated time frame, about 5 months of a secret relationship mixed with top shelf drinking hooking up, she eventually became more curious. And one day he had left his laptop open as it was connected to the cloud, which his wife has access to. There were messages from church members, but also pictures and videos between him and this mistress. He had called his secret mistress, explaining that his wife had found out about the affair. Soon after, November 5th of that same year, Brian Houston officially announced that he was terminating Pastor Carl Lentz. Brian, the creator of the church, and his wife Bobbi told the world all about Carl, shamed Carl, and made sure they kept the world's focus on Carl and not on their family. Meanwhile, no one found it shocking how Bobbi was actually promoting sex talk, urging women to get plastic surgery and do whatever they need to keep their husband and keep them happy. Now, why would they be so protective of what is believed or spoken about among the church community? What do they even have to hide? Brian Houston wasn't exactly the full creator of Hillsong, but more so the reinventor of its revival. That was because his father was where the idea and concept originally came from. This man had apparently done horrible things to minors and children in his past, and the other shady and disgusting cover-ups that continued in the church. Brian had done all he could to cover up those crimes of his fathers, and eventually stepped down and recreated the church as it was technically regifted with new branding as Hillsong. Now, with Brian gone and the public already aware of Carl's allegations, when he was terminated, he went and stayed with Justin for some time. Justin and Haley had also allegedly cut ties with Hillsong at this time. Carl had changed his phone number and then planned to move again, as staying with Justin was to be temporary. Tyler Perry was generous and paid 6 months of rent, estimated $96,000, covered cost for him. He was also then connected with Sunshine Sachs, which is the same PR agency firm that Harry and Meghan used, known to work on image crisis reputation management. Sunshine Sachs allegedly parted ways with him as they felt he kept lying to them and wouldn't comply with them. It didn't help that 3 more women had come forward at this time in the press, heating the topic back up. Both Carl and his wife Laura were promised a severance package if they comply with investigators regarding other things. During this investigation, Carl's driver, while he was the pastor, said he was belittled by him, and Carl complained about everything daily. Laura had openly said she had a few hints that something inappropriate might have been going on. It is alleged that Carl himself told investigators that he believes he is an incredible liar and took major steps and measures ahead to make sure to cover his tracks. A report had come out that Laura had caught Carl and the family nanny on the couch together one night back in 2016. Laura actually ended up punching this woman 3 times in the face and grabbed Carl. She then explained that she was being, what she now believes, being gaslit to the point where she questioned what she had witnessed in the moment. For a while, Carl did not speak publicly. He tried to fly under the radar, literally. But in March of 2022, he had been spotted in the airport and looking like himself, as in before his pastor days. More rugged and raggedy rocker style. In recent years, there has been a major decline in Hillsong community, as there have been an estimated 10 locations out of 16 in total in the U.S. that are now closed. Shockingly, Carl resurfaced in an interview docuseries that came out on FX. There had been some mixed reviews about the docuseries, as it seemed to have a negative agenda towards Christianity, just as much as it showcased negative light on the church. It had been said that the director of The Secrets of Hillsong, Stacy Lee, claimed that they had to do multiple interviews and takes with Lentz. He had been well-groomed and trained to be able to answer questions and speak to strangers easily on a daily basis, so they were not sure if he had been totally truthful at times. It was clear that he is still struggling with balance and healing from it all. In more recent updates, it has been reported that Carl Lentz has been working with Transformation Church. He has stated that he has been busy focusing fully on his family. In his own words, he has used the word sobriety a couple of times, so he is acknowledging that he is addicted to something. Not sure exactly what, it could be a number of different things. He expressed how he had no control over the docs being released in relation to him and how the narrative may go. He is no longer in ministry. He is not preaching nor overseeing. His role is purely for assisting, planning, and helping create good changes and a better structure for recovery programs within churches. Carl had been active in the addiction recovery process through the 12-step program and meeting and working with specialists. The Transformation Church has seemed to be very open and honest to the public with their support in both Laura and Carl. Do you think he will help or hurt the Transformation Church? Do you think he will be able to make a difference with the program? His wife and children have forgiven him, but has the public? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. I'm Leenda, and that's For the Record, Your Honor.